moms. I'm Mom, aka Sandra, and these are my daughters, Candace and Alyssa, and these are my daughter-in-laws, Brooks and Felisha. And we are so glad that you've come to join us on our online community of women where we come together every week to discuss things and topics that we as women go through every week. And this week, our moderator is Alyssa. Mm-hmm. And what are we going to talk about?
We are talking about joy.
Yes.
And the ordinary tasks. So every person on the planet has ordinary things we have to do every day. I mean, anyone, whether you're the king of England, you still have to brush your teeth and you've got to take showers and you got to do ordinary, normal things. If you do have a kitchen you have to clean, maybe you have laundry that you have to do. There are normal tasks that every human being has to do. But my question is, have you ever walked through a season that maybe you felt like you were just going through the motions? And is that season, is that okay to feel that way?
Well, I wrote something down for this one.
Yes.
Well, I wonder, right? I said yes. You are going to have those seasons. Mm-hmm. When I felt the most, alone is when I was single. When I was single, I would, you're just going to stay there for a while, but you just got to notice that, oh my gosh, I'm in a rut. I'm in this, before it gets into depression, you go into a rabbit hole. You have to recognize those, what you're going through.
Yeah. So feeling like it's a little stagnant, mundane.
All I do is go to work and come home every day.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
so, and fair. I had you could go out and have fun and go to the bars and do all these fun things. I'm like, but then my money went away. So you can't do that. So then I worked 3 jobs, came home and did that all the time. And they're like, oh, but someone called you and your friends call you, but my friends have lives. My parents have lives. Sometimes you would sit there and I would all week with no one calling me at all. I'm like, And then you do fall down to a little depression and you're sad. But it's all up to you to overcome that.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody else walked through a season where you felt like that?
Oh, of course. I think everybody does.
Yeah.
I think you certainly go through that's part of life's up and downs.
Yeah.
I've noticed it prior to being married. You get in a season of a relationship where you're just going through the motions, but it's as a mom and doing a house like you were talking about before, there's laundry, there's dishes, there's stuff, and it's just
not the cute stuff.
You know what? For me, every day it's making lunch.
Really?
It's the task that I can't stand.
Wow.
And I used to get angry about it.
Yeah.
I would stomp into the kitchen and until recently, very recently, that was my thing where I was this is just the most ordinary, awful task in the world. And it would just take away every part of joy that I could find in it.
So funny that you say that because you recently posted about how you wrote on napkins. It has changed, it has changed my perspective on that now I'm what can I say today to Jason to make him
Speaking
smile.
of which, that was a video on Instagram. Yeah. You can follow us.
But that, honestly, when I did that is what changed. It shifted my moment of that. I had to find something that would bring me joy in doing those things.
Yeah,
and so now, on my lunch breaks, I'm pulling up, Pinterest things about what joke can I put in his lunch today? Or what thing can I say to him? The one he enjoyed this week was that it said, what made the orange stop? And I drew a cute little orange. It said he ran out of juice.
That's cute.
But I think what you just made a really good point is you got out of it by finding something. And I think we all go through those mundane things, but I don't think that it really is.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's not okay because we all go through it, but I think recognizing okay, this isn't how we're meant to live. We're meant to walk in joy. Yeah. So where does my perspective need to shift in order to change this? And I think that was a good.
Right.
Something that I heard years ago, and I try to remind myself of this. If it's something you have to do, don't dread it.
Right.
Because it makes it worse. So if you have to make lunch, just go
grocery
make lunch
shopping.
And don't dread it. If you don't want to grocery shop,
thank the Lord.
just do what you have to do without dreading that you have to do this.
Yeah.
Tell them how you change your perspective on making the bed. I love this.
Oh, let's hear this.
I hate to make my bed.
Oh.
I hate it with a passion. And I grew up having to make my bed every day. I made my children make their beds. And I made my bed then. I don't know what it is about making my bed. And I would tell myself, don't dread something that you don't want to do. Make your daggone bed.
Angrily making it.
Angrily making my bed. So, and it's crazy because I love to decorate my home, and my home is very decorated. And
Mommy lobby.
Mommy lobby. And so I decided that I was going to change it from I don't have to make my bed, I get to decorate my bed.
Oh, that's cute.
So when I get up and I'm like, there you are.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let's decorate my bed because I will change things in my house all the time. I just go out in my garage and like, oh, I like this. Let's take this down. Let's change this out. Let's do that. It'd be nice if my husband recognized all that, but he does not.
We do, though. We do.
Hint, Dad. That's so funny.
So I loved, but not dreading something that you know you have to do, because when we dread it, it makes it worse.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we might as well know that if we've got to do it, just do it and do it with joy.
But
and
I think
move
it's
on.
also like, yes, do it with joy and don't dread it. But I think it's also okay to give ourselves permission to be in that season.
To not make your
yeah.
bed.
Right. Like maybe
you get a day.
there's
That's it,
just
Mama
a
day.
moment like, hey, I can't flip this right now. And that's just something that I really don't like to do. But give yourself like, hey, I have feelings. I'm a person.
Yeah.
And this is something I don't enjoy.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you may still have to do it.
Absolutely.
You know, you don't have to get angry and upset and, pout.
Or be running around like, yay, I get to do this when you know you don't like doing
but
it.
give yourself permission to be like, this is just my feelings about this.
Yeah.
And then figure out a way from there
Yeah.
to either change it or move on.
Yeah.
But to acknowledge it, basically.
I think we're talking about how do you shift that perspective. For me, it's remembering the times that maybe I didn't get to have that, or I didn't have it. There was a period of time that our dishwasher was broken, and it was the worst months of our lives in our house.
Years.
It literally felt like years. It got to the point that Dale was like, "I'm not doing dishes. Like they will just sit there." We bought paper plates for a while. Like it was the worst because neither one of us wanted to do the dishes. Now I have my dishwasher back. It is fixed. And so in the moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, the last thing I want to do at the end of the day is now clean the kitchen again. I remind myself, okay, but do you remember when this would take literally hours because you had to hand wash everything? This will take you 15 minutes. Like load the dishwasher. It's going to be okay. It's the same thing with our homes. Like I can remember moving into our apartment when we first got married and we had no furniture. And I was sobbing about the fact that my husband was like, no, we're on a budget. So the few, couple $100s we got from the wedding, that's what you get to furnish our entire home. And I was like devastated about it. But now I look back and I'm like, you know what? I do get to clean all this. I get to vacuum my couch that I own now and stuff like that. Yeah, it's shifting that.
So I said, take a moment and look around and see what God has made, and it's beautiful. Like what He did for you, just in ordinary things. Like I know we're thinking about materialists, like I have a house, think because some people don't. But like even like, okay, I have my health.
Yeah,
or you don't want to go to work, but thank God I have a job.
Exactly. I'm like, I love going to my job. I mean, hello, I work for.
Of course,
Dad.
Are
we lying on this podcast now?
No, I have to say, out of all my jobs,
working with me is far more fun.
How's the tone?
Dad.
No, I say actually this job has been the most stress-free. And I work 3 jobs at a time, like 2 here. So Mom realized, like, she goes, do you eat when you work? And I'm like, no, you go. I got bills to pay. I got, I want a life. But I say in perspective, like I hate going to the grocery store. But I said, thank the Lord for Instacart.
Or that you have money that you can go to the grocery store.
Exactly.
I was thinking about when they were talking about tasks they hate. I was like, oh my gosh, for all those moms out there who hate the parent pickup line. Yeah. But here's the
Parent
perspective.
Pickup line will make you lose your Christianity in a heartbeat.
I don't understand.
The anger that has been ignited at this table.
Skip. Next question.
But it is one of those things that maybe it's not easy, and in your mind you are a little angry when you're thinking it, but praise the Lord that you have educators who are willing to educate your children, and you're able to send them somewhere,
and
that
you have
feel
a car
safe
to drive your child. To
because
school.
I'm sure there were times where you were like, how am I going to pick up the kids because it's broken?
I can tell you that there were times that we didn't have a car that I had to figure that out.
Yeah. So it is definitely that perspective shift of those moments where you're like, okay. And maybe it's not even anger. Maybe it's just like, I just don't want to do this. Like, who wants to do laundry right now? I don't want to do it. For me, when I have to do laundry, because it is not my favorite thing, I put on a YouTube video. So watch this podcast. Go grab your laundry basket while you're watching this.
Fold with us.
Fold with us. Like, there are definitely things
we don't mind.
You can shift and do a little bit different. So
you mean you do your own laundry?
Princess Flea over here.
No, because we don't all have Trevor to do our laundry. So
I will say the other day,
for me,
Dale made a comment, and I was like, ugh, cut to the bone. I had done all of the house stuff that day. I did not get laundry done. Again, it's my least favorite task in the world, so it's usually the last thing I do during the week. And Dale had no clothes for work the next day. If you've met my husband, he says things fully as a joke, but you're kind of like, are you serious?
Yeah. All the time.
He literally said, oh, it's a good thing I didn't get married. And I was like, I will come across this tape. Like, I was so mad. The next day I was like, I will get all your laundry done. How about that? Like it's a punishment to him that I did his laundry, but it is true. Like, those little tasks, I can't stand them.
And when Dale, he was 1,000% making a joke.
I would like, you have two hands?
I just was like, oh my gosh. Speaking of things and changing perspectives, let's look at what the Bible says about all of this so that I can calm myself down after that. So in Colossians 3:17, it says, and whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. And the Message version says this, I like it so much. It says, let every detail in your lives, words, action, whatever, be done in the name of the Master Jesus, thanking God the Father every step of the way. So as Christian women, how can we use the simplest tasks we have during the day to glorify God?
I think it's just simple as like feeding your family. I put feeding your family and thanking the food that comes on that table for them. Lord, thank you that you have filled our bellies again. Thank you for our car that's running. I mean, those are material, but thank you for that my child is healthy and running around and enjoying life. That just goes back to being thankful in a perspective. If it's not on God, then where's it really at then?
I think of, it says in the Bible that when we're faithful with the little, like he gives us more. And so doing those dishes, like taking care of, maybe it is a small home. I remember when Trevor and I first got married, we were in a small and we rented, and doing those small tasks. And now like I have a home and like that I get to take care of and this is mine. So am I honoring God and by honoring my house and keeping my house clean because he did like help me get this house.
Exactly.
So good.
I think it's just in those moments, like reflecting God's love. Like that's our job as God's children. But like in those moments that we approach everything with that spirit of love and humility and service, and like it shifts all of your perspective because you take out that about your feelings, your life, and you're putting it back on your family and your home or the people you love, and you're serving out of the reflection of who God created you to be.
That's so good. I think that too, like the whole service part of it, whether it is someone like maybe Flea and I, that we are the ones that are staying home, it is for us serving our family and like showing them the love of God by being someone that will provide for them, will keep them safe. And like that might be as small as like, I'm gonna rock you and sing you a bedtime song, and we do that every single night. And sometimes I'm like, okay, please fall asleep. But like having those moments where it's like, no, like I'm gonna serve and love you, and maybe if it is someone that's going into the workforce, like saying, hey, I'm gonna be the light of the world wherever I'm at. Like I'm gonna do my job well, I'm gonna do my tasks well, even if if my boss has given me a laundry list of things that maybe it wasn't my job description and I'm a little frustrated, and saying like, okay, instead of complaining about these things, instead of being mad and angry and gossiping around the office or the wherever it is, like I'm just going to do my job well and be the light and be what God has called me to be.
Well, it was like, so for me, we talked about the lunchbox. Like when I shifted my perspective and started finding not just jokes and joy and like drawing to it, but it realized for me that like I was brightening King's day in the middle of it. So we spend so much time apart because of schedules and things like that, that it was a moment for him and I to still connect in the middle of the day and for him to have that piece of connection and not just, so it wasn't just service or anything like that, but it was just a moment for him to be like, oh yeah, Mom's still here, Mom's still with me, which is great. Type of thing. So it's like you approach those things with that different aspect on it. And it doesn't just affect you, it affects those other people.
Yeah, for sure. And Candace was talking about like being thankful throughout the day. It's like kind of that prayer without ceasing, like just knowing like throughout the day, like, okay, thank you, God, that I have this food, that I have these dishes to clean. Thank you that I have this job. Like it really is that, you know, when the Bible talks about that, I think sometimes it gets a little confusing. Like we're like, are we supposed to stop and pray? Like multiple times throughout the day, but I think having that continuous conversation,
it's you're having a conversation with God. He's your best friend. Do you not call like Flea like, hey, guess what Bella did today? It's just like telling God, like, you know, but like it's just like that to God. I mean, I'm driving in the car, you know, what's up? Me and the God's conversation are like, we're like, hey Lord. You know, just like that, just having a normal conversation. He made me.
I just hear Candace in the car. Yo, God, listen.
Take a seat.
Candace is giving like the ultimate tea to God at the end of every work day.
Let me just tell you, Lord, and laxing for this traffic drives me nuts.
That's so good. So for maybe there's some women today that are watching and they're not at that point yet. Maybe for them, it's not even like, okay, there's this one task I don't like, or there's this one thing that I put to the end of the day and I don't want to do it. Maybe for them, it's like, hey, I really feel like I'm lacking purpose. Like Candace was talking about at the start of the podcast, like I'm waking up and going to work and going home every day by myself, or maybe it is to your family where you're like, I feel like I'm just pouring out and I do the same thing every single morning, noon, and night, and I'm feeling like I'm in a dry or mundane season. What kind of advice do we have for those who are watching today, maybe feeling like they're at that place?
And I think that we all go through that.
First and foremost,
and
for sure.
Even, you know, sometimes you can feel lost in just having to do all the stuff that you have to do every day. But then it's finding, when I've been through this in my life, find a hobby that you enjoy. For me, I love going outside in my yard and working with my plants and my orchids and doing all of that. And it brings me such joy to do that. And I find that whenever I haven't done that in a while, or something in a while that I enjoy, that I do start feeling like, well, what is my purpose? You know, I don't have children to take care of every day. I'm not a newlywed. I'm not physically leaving my house to go to work every day. So it can be I don't care. You can be an empty nester and feel like, you know, I'm retired and now what is my life really about? I have no purpose in my life. So you have to find that purpose, find something that brings you joy that you can do every day. And if you are a mom, find something that will bring you joy. Because everybody's is going to be different.
I was like, all I wrote is that you're not going to be there forever. Shift your routine. Do something different. Like she was saying, find a hobby, have some you time, and then get back to it and knock it out and have listen to some positive energy. Music can change everything in your day. And if not, talk to your girlfriend real quick on the phone. Say, hey, I just need a little pep talk. Hey, I'm there. And just say, and then, all right, I'm going to go conquer the laundry. I'm going to get it done in like 10 seconds. I'm going to switch it out.
10-second tidy.
10-second tidy. Let's do it. But that's what I'm saying. You have to do something different, change up the routine and have a hobby.
I've heard too, people say, like if you're going to work or whatever, it's the same routine, drive a different way. Go a different way than you normally do. Because first of all, your brain has to pay attention more. Because how many times have you done something every day or 5 days a week and you're like, how did I get here already? Because you're just automatically doing it. But if you drive a different way, then you're going to be paying attention a lot more.
I had something kind of similar to what you talked about with finding a hobby, but I was thinking more along the lines of, finding what brings you happiness, because, in that happiness, that's kind of where God has placed your purpose a lot of times. You told a story to us a long time ago about my husband and when he was younger and drumming, right? So he's a drummer. It was a hobby of his, things along those lines. He's wonderful at it, but you said that you noticed as a child that was his passion and purpose and kind of encouraged it. But so I think about as a woman, you're going through this season, you find what brings you happiness. You're going to find part of your purpose. And then dive into that, because in that you'll find yourself serving others, finding your joy and pushing through those seasons. But it's really just, God has placed those things on your heart to bring you happy. And that's where you're going to sit in to find that.
That's so good. And since you said this, and has nothing to do with joy, but talking about, watching your children when they're small, and you will see giftings that are in them so that you can encourage that gifting and help them in that gifting so that they can do that. Because I remember when Brandon got drums, man, whew, wow.
Did it take away some of your joy?
Here's the interesting thing. And even when Candace was playing the piano or you were singing or doing the piano, you always seemed to be doing it when I was cooking dinner, and Dad wasn't home yet. So he didn't get to experience all the fun, but I shifted my perspective of this is something they enjoy. This is something they want to do. So I can endure this until
Brandon over and over again
until they get tired of doing it. Their hands are going to get tired, or their voice will get tired, or
Moonlight Sonata, poor thing.
Brandon's arms would get tired, or Trevor flexing in the reflection of the mirror.
He never got tired of that.
Chasen does that before school every morning.
That is such a
gets in the mirror
again. And we've talked about the apple in the tree, but no, Trevor had a lot of giftings as well. But find that and if you watch them when they're little, on Instagram again, we posted this week, so follow us on Instagram, because we have a lot of fun on Instagram. We do a lot of crazy things over there. But I posted, you sent me a video of Maddie doing her tea party, and I thought, isn't that interesting that her mom loves to decorate and entertain, and I love that. And here's little Maddie entertaining Bluey and whatever all these other characters' names are and their babies. And she was just having a really good time doing that.
Just messing up my dining room table.
Right.
It goes back to watching the kids, finding joy in the mundane. When they're having fun messing up my dining room table, when Chasen is in the garage taking out all his fishing stuff, he just loves taking out his poles, and I guess it's called rigging the line. I don't really know, but he leaves stuff everywhere. And I have to find, he had so much fun doing that. And so I've got to get it out of my head.
Well, you love looking at all your Christmas stuff.
I do.
So he loves, that boy loves to fish. So he loves enjoying because he can't go fish at the moment. So he's enjoying that.
So I need to shift my perspective when I'm cleaning up after them.
Yeah. I think what it all comes down to, going back to, advice that we would give maybe someone who's going through something right now, there are so many great YouTubers out there that talk about romanticizing your life. And I think that's something that I have taken in to account in the last few months when it comes to morning times. Maybe that is putting on some fun, nice, cottage-esque music and lighting a candle and getting, so that I'm not okay, it is 7 a.m. and I just need coffee. Having these moments of opening the curtains and waking up the home and doing those type of things. Although it's funny and kind of silly because you're okay, calm it down. It's just you and your toddler. It's fine. But for me, it is finding that joy, like we were talking about. Also something, because we were just talking about, finding happiness, things like that. If you are a mom who is at home and you are the one with your kids 24/7, girl, find a moment and put them down for a nap and let that be yours. Mom laughs at me. Lunchtime is my favorite time of the day because I put on Friends and I make myself a massive salad, and I have a Diet Coke, and there's the little monitors right there. It is my time. And that doesn't mean that nap time is going to be more than 30 minutes sometimes, but that means for those 30 minutes, it's not a hobby. It's not anything crazy. It's just like, this is my time that I can turn my brain off, that it's just for me and nobody else. So I encourage you, find a moment in your day. Yeah.
That's really good.
That just makes you happy to be happy. And it's not.
And that's anyone. That could be anyone. Just finding that moment to go do whatever you need to do. Yeah. Sometimes I'm a huge advocate for sunshine and vitamin D. Yeah. Just go outside. Yeah. Just go outside for just a minute and just recharge yourself.
Yeah, Candace doesn't know this, but we're starting a lunchtime walk this week.
Oh, nice.
So we'll be getting our vitamin D in our time. So
okay, let's do it. I like the sunshine.
Yeah.
No, that's perfect. But I think these have been really great tips, ladies. And if you are going through a season that maybe you're like, gosh, I'm just going through the motions, I hope that these have helped you today.
Perspective. And it's okay if you're having a bad time or a bad day. It's not like every day we're like, oh, yay. You're gonna have time, but and finding that moment for yourself. Yes. So, all right. Well, I think that's all we have time for this week. So we want to encourage you to keep the conversation going. Put your comments below or go to our website and send us an email there. While you're there, sign up for our free newsletter so that you can stay in the know, and come join us on Instagram, because we do some really crazy fun things over there. Not only in the postings, but watch the stories, because if my kids know, if you've sent me an Instagram or you've sent me a video, it's going to go in my story. Ask Trevor. So we want to just say thank you for joining us again this week. We absolutely look forward to this every single week. So we want you to have a wonderful, wonderful week and find some joy for you this week. All right.